Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Advanced Women Bible Study for the 12th of May, 2022. What I'll be doing later on for the Bible discussion will be Bible secrets. The Bible secrets revealed. So we'll listen to it and then we'll just go in and have a dialogue on it. I'm asking everybody to like and share, subscribe to Prophets of Awakening channel. Hit the notification button, please. And for those people that don't know, we're on Clubhouse on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock and Central Time, and Friday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time. So I'm asking everybody to hit the notification button if you can. And this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Old Testament only, and the Tanakh, which is the so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Shalom and welcome to the Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our moment of silence, our prayer, psalms. We're going to have a little women's segment on women's health. Then we do some current events, and then we'll need to know information. Then we go into our Q&A. And then we go into the Bible discussion. Okay. This moment of silence is for our Creator and His right-hand man, Lord of hosts, and all that they're doing to bring about Israel's prophesied deliverance from the lands that they were scattered to over 400 some years ago. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this time, thanking You for Your mercy and Your great power. We appreciate You, O Lord, for Your patience and Your guidance in these last days. Oh Lord, we thank You for awakening us to this great understanding of Your word. We come before Thee. We come before You. We come before that You keep, direct, and guide us through the upcoming week. Oh Lord, there are trials and pestilences and mayhem at every turn. And we need Your mighty hand in this world affairs. And we need to, we thank You for constructing Your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon Thee. For this cause, we honor and respect You greatly. Turn not Thy face from us, but allow us in Thy searching of You to find You, O Lord, and dwell with You. Peace be unto You. Okay. With that being said, we're going to read a psalm. Then we're going to our women's health. Okay. I'm going to read Psalm 36. It's a steadfast love of God. Right? It's a song of David, the servant of the Lord. The transgressions of the wicked said within my heart that there is no fear of God before His eyes. For He flattereth Himself in His own eyes, until His iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of His mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He devised a mischief upon His bed. He setteth Himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. Thy mercy, O Lord, is in the heavens, and Thy faithfulness reaches unto the clouds. Thy righteousness is like the great mountains. Thy judgments are a great deep. O Lord, Thou preservest man and beast. How excellent is Thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore, the children of men put their trust under the shadow of Thy wings. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of Thy house, and Thou shalt make them drink of the river of Thy pleasures. For with Thee is the fountain of life. In Thy light shall we see light. O continue Thy loving kindness unto them that know Thee, and Thy righteousness to the upright of heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked remove me. There, there are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down and shall not be able to rise. So that was Psalms 36, and it's a steadfast love of God. Anybody got any comments on that?
I do. Verse 1, the transgression of the wicked saith within my heart that there is no fear of God before his eyes. Um, I think the you know the foundation of wicked man's character is the lack of fear that he has for God. He does not respect or reference him. You know, so I
Right,
think that's yes, yes,
right. It says, yeah, yeah. Verse 2 kind of come back and
hmm
says, well, he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hate.
right, yes, yes,
You got something?
yes, it is.
Okay. We're going to go to our women's health. So, see what that's about.
Okay, shalom. Let's talk about figs. Have you ever wondered about the symbolism of figs in the Bible? Whenever scripture repeats something, take note of it. Figs or fig trees are mentioned in the Old Testament numerous times. Genesis 3 and 7, Numbers 13, verse 15 and 23, 1 Samuel chapter 25 and 18, 2 Kings 20 and 7, Deuteronomy 8, verses 7 through 9, Isaiah 34 and 4, Isaiah 38 and 21, Jeremiah 24, verses 2 through 7, just to name a few. We see the first mention of figs early in the scripture, right from the beginning, actually. Figs are figs are the one fruit we know was presented in the Garden of Eden. How do we know? Adam and Eve used figs to cover themselves after sinning. This is Genesis 3 and 7. I'm going to read that. Genesis chapter 3, verse 7 says, "And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons." That was Genesis 3 and 7. This
Okay.
is the beginning of the fig tree being used as a symbol in the Bible. So, what do they represent? Throughout Scripture, we see figs or fig tree as a barometer of health or status of the nation of Israel. Figs are compared to blessings, just as the rich flavor and sweetness of the fig bless the taste buds and body. The tree represents the sweet things in life. Figs stand as a symbol of prosperity, well being, and security. We see this in relation to the Israelites during the time of Moses. The Lord rescued the Israelites from slavery and a harsh life after crying out to him while in captivity in Egypt. However, their gratitude was short lived and they soon grumbled to Moses about their new status. Therefore, the Lord brought punishment and left them in exile for another 70 years. Despite the promised land being close, they could have entered the land overflowing with milk and honey much earlier, but their disobedience prevented them from experiencing the blessings God prepared for them. In Deuteronomy 8, the Lord describes the land as good and overflowing with abundant provisions. One of the seven foods listed is figs. I'm going to read Deuteronomy chapter 8, 7 through 10. Deuteronomy chapter 8, 7 through 10. God has provided a good land. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills. 8, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey. 9, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without sacredness, thou shalt. Oh, I lost my place. I'm sorry. Thou shalt eat bread. No, thou shalt not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. 10. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. That was Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 7 through 10. Okay. The fig tree was one of the foods the Lord used to describe how blessed the land was. The Canaanites possessed the land but didn't worship the Lord. Instead, they worshiped a variety of idols and committed many abominable acts against the Lord. They didn't deserve the blessed, abundant land. God's plan was to punish the Canaanites for their treachery and bless the Israelites as his children. Therefore, he would help them rip the land from the Canaanites and gift it to the Israelites. Yet, they had some lessons to learn first. Blessings are often tied to obedience to God. The Israelites needed refining from the corruption they incorporated in their lifestyles from the Egyptians and learned to worship God before they could receive his blessings. These are some verses I'm going to mention. 1 Kings 4 and 25, Isaiah 34 and 4, Joel 1, verses 6 through 7, and verse 12, Micah 7 and 1. These are just a handful of scriptures that reference the fig tree and show the depth of its use as a symbol in connection with the Israelites. So, what are the benefits of figs? Like so many other foods God created and has given to us, they are plentiful. Figs are so powerful in your health and nurture you from the inside and out. It nourishes your cells, helps prevent diabetes, improve bone health, aids in blood pressure, help treat anemia. It enhances good memory. It contributes to good digestion, assists in lowering cholesterol, soothe and heal sore throats, reduces inflammation and skin irritations, promotes healthy liver function. Okay. The nutritions in figs help balance enzymes and detoxification, both of which are important in liver function and overall health. Figs are definitely one of the wonderful gifts God has given us. The food He created is good and loaded with important nutrients our bodies need to function at their best. In addition to the nutrients listed above, figs also have significant amounts of vitamin A, vitamin C, and B complex. Eat figs daily for better health.
Okay, that was some good information. Appreciate that. Okay, with with that being said, we're gonna go into our current events. And the first one I got. Anybody having current events they want to bring up, or something they want some information they want to reveal to the people on Popular Awakening?
That the wildfires that they have in New Mexico, I don't know if you all have heard about that, but they are getting, they say really intense now, and that the fires in California have picked up. Don't know why they mentioning mansions being burned down now, because I'm pretty sure that's been happening, but I guess it's more of it that is happening now, and plus the shortage of water that's
Right.
going to be happening in California, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That was all I had.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I got a couple of current events I want to bring up.
Lockdown was harsh, but nowhere have lockdowns been as brutal as now in Shanghai, China's largest city. China's dictators insisted zero COVID because he's been boasting that dictatorships are better than democracies in locking down and beating this virus. And up to this point, it's worked. But now, and it's also got another problem, of course, China's own vaccines are weak and vaccination rates not good. Well, as you get in a dictatorship, Shanghai officials have gone really hardcore to please the boss. They've been walling off building complexes. If a building has even one infection, in some cases, everyone inside could be shipped off to quarantine camps that have been built in sports grounds, for instance. People who fight back face extraordinary treatment. And now some areas of Shanghai have even been told no deliveries at all, not even of food, for 2 or 3 days. And any delivery men caught not following orders can get beaten. One truck got stopped by a man begging for food and then crying when given bananas and crackers. There are also videos circulating that I can't show you of suicides, people jumping off buildings. And there have been breakouts from lockdown buildings when one factory complex, in fact, had a couple of workers test positive. Hundreds of colleagues fled to avoid getting locked up. In some areas, the frustration has led to angry protests. Joining me from Shanghai is a resident there, Dutch freelance journalist Jaap Grolleman. Jaap, thank you very much for your time. How bad is this lockdown?
Yeah, thank you. It's quite. We all seen the news, and so it's quite bad in a way. Like we're on day 41. Some people are on day 60, so it's very limited freedom. We had 3 weeks where we couldn't even leave the apartment. And now at least we can walk in our compound, which is like a living district with like 40, 50 buildings, but we cannot enter the city or anything. And that's the case for most people in Shanghai.
We've also read that some areas of Shanghai have been locked down so hard that the people there aren't even allowed to order in food for 2 or 3 days. Why is that?
Yeah, that's correct. And they call this a silent period, but they could have also just called it like a don't buy food period. But we just ended it also a few hours ago. I think the governing body is mostly thinking that there are infections coming from those deliveries. So they don't want any deliveries for 3 days. Actually, it's not very clear where all the infections are coming from because some areas, they have been locked down for like 40 or 60 days. And then suddenly there's still infections coming up. So it's also very hard to contain.
Gee, that's weird. Why are the officials so very, very tough, do you think? We've seen footage of a delivery driver getting beaten up, real fights between the police, health officials and some of the people there, doors being broken down to get into apartments. What's going on here?
Yeah, it seems the number one rule is the 2 top rules are like if you get infected, you have to go to the quarantine camp, and also nobody is allowed to leave your compound or your apartment. Which sounds very simple, but okay, what if somebody gets ill and they need to go to the hospital, or what if a child tests positive and the parents not, and the child previously had to go to the quarantine camp, but the parents not. Now this has stopped, but it's just people following the rules, and the rules are absolutely not flexible. And sometimes
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? That's coming here. I believe it's coming here, me. Yeah.
You say you believe that's coming here?
Oh, yeah. It's coming here. Every time something happens in China, it comes here. The bird flu, all that stuff, it came here after left China. Yeah. Right. Yeah, what's up, Mike? Okay. Then we got another one right here.
Here's a question. Which country in the world gets the highest number of citizenship requests? Which country attracts the maximum number of immigrants? The United States of America. As of 2020, according to a report, it had more than 50 million foreign-born residents, 50 million. The US has long been seen as the land of promise, the land of opportunity. Now, what if we told you that Americans themselves may be losing faith in that promise? A new report has come out with some very interesting data. It's from a group of citizenship brokers. It says rich Americans are working on a plan B. They're trying to acquire a second passport. And the number of such people has gone up by more than 300% in the last 3 years. 300%. A second passport is the new gold in America. But why do people want it? To go to safer countries, they say, and these are Americans. America's political climate has seen a lot of uncertainty in the last few years. From Obama to Trump to Biden, it's a hard gear shift. The society is polarized, the rules change drastically, and these political swings are driving people out. That's the number one reason they give. This is what the report says. Wealthy Americans have developed a deep-rooted fear about the future of their society. They would rather live abroad than deal with the state of affairs. Some want to avoid changing tax rules. Others are worried about growing hate crimes in the US. And yet others fear an all-out civil war. The second reason they give is the pandemic. The pandemic showed Americans how vulnerable they can be. During the global lockdown in 2020, many of them could not enter Europe. No matter how much money they offered, they could not bend the rules. So now they want a second passport, a plan B, like I said, for their families in case of another global health crisis. Tells you how even superpowers lose their appeal. The rich and mighty don't want to put all their eggs in the American basket anymore. They want other options, safer options, they say. So how do they get these second passports? Through CIPs, that's Citizenship by Investment Programs, CIP. How do they work? Through money. If you have the money, you can invest in a country. In return, the country will give you citizenship. What kind of investments are we talking about? Real estate, an enterprise project, or donations to the country's national fund. And which countries offer such programs? How much do they charge? The figure varies and the list is long. Dominica charges $100,000 in exchange for citizenship. Antigua and Barbuda, $130,000. Grenada, $150,000. Same for St. Kitts and Nevis. Montenegro takes $294,000. So does Portugal. And Bulgaria takes a colossal $588,000. And these are just the starting prices. The richer you are, the more you'll have to lose in your purse strings. Next question. How many Americans are opting for such programs? A lot of them. The report says that in the last 3 years, more than 300% spike has been seen in such applications, more than 300%. Which countries were these applications for? Mostly Portugal, the land of oranges. This report says Portugal's 5-year residence permit is the most in-demand program among Americans. It requires an investment of $294,000. In return, it offers an average stay of 7 days a year in Portugal, along with visa-free travel to 26 countries in the EU. Once the permit expires, you're eligible for a permanent citizenship process. In fact, citizenship brokers say that in the coming years, Portugal could be the next California. A lot of American wealth and talent is going to this country. Interesting paradox. The USA, which is a country which takes pride in its quality of life, the land of opportunity, the melting pot of cultures, with a large number of people from across the world still trying to go to the US. The fact is that Americans themselves are looking to leave. And that says something about where the country is heading.
Okay, any comments on that?
That's some news I haven't heard. Portugal,
yeah.
the what?
Yeah, but ain't that something? Because that's how it started. They came out of Spain, Columbus,
Wow.
and then I also said, this information got to catch up with people, but I was showing how uh, the Edomites came into the land and stole it in 143 BC, and they lived there from 143 BC to 70 AD. They was kicked out in 70 AD. Guess where they went? Portugal, in Spain. That's where they was. These Edomites said the what's called the royalty, the Harris family, and then from there they came here. That's why the 3 ships left Spain, because that's where the Edomites is at. And they was looking for somewhere to live, because they got curses on them. Like I said in Ezekiel 35, curses on them. They just, and that's how they was able to pass as long as they have fronting as the Israelites. Because the same thing that Deuteronomy 28 says is on Esau too. Let me read it. Ezekiel 35. Get it. Ezekiel 35 says, okay, this is the Most High talking. It says the prophecy against Mount Seir. Moreover, verse chapter 1, Ezekiel 35, verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, that's Esau, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, just like he against the Israelites, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate, and I will lay thy cities to waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had came to an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, the Lord of hosts, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out of him that returneth, and I will fill his mountains with the slain men there in thy hills and in thy valleys and in thy rivers shall thy fall that are slain with the sword, and I will make thee a perpetual desolation. He made Israel a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, these 2 nations, right? Judah, southern kingdom, and Israel, the northern kingdom. Because thou hast said, these 2 nations, countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, wherein the Lord was there. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. So that's a prophecy right now. It's in operation. So to go into that a little further, for for people that want to know, if you go to Malachi right quick, break this down. Malachi, you'll see that chapter 1, Malachi chapter 1, It says, verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel, the word of the Lord by Malachi, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein have thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob. I hated Esau. I laid his mountain and his heritage to waste for the dragons of the wilderness, right? Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So we got a perpetual, just like Esau got a perpetual hatred for us, Most High got a perpetual hatred for him, right? And then verse 5 says, and your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the borders of Israel. So why is it saying that? That's where Esau is. He says in verse 4, whereas Edom said, he made them desert, he ran them out in 70 AD. It was ran out, they stole the land. He ran them out, and they said in verse 4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desert places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall be called the border of wickedness, and the Lord and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation. So when you write divided, they came back in 70 AD, came back in 148 in 1948, and rebuilt the desolate places, parts of it. But he said, even though they come back, I'm gonna tear it down because he have to bring Israel back. So let's go back to Ezekiel right quick to explain that. So he tells us right here in Ezekiel 35 in verse 10, he says, because thou hast said, these two nations, these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, wherein the Lord was there, Lord of hosts is there, Zion, Mount Zion, Jerusalem is where he dwells. In verse 11, therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, I will even do according to mine anger and according to thine anger, which thou have used out of the hatred against them, against Israel, and I will make myself known. Look at this. I will make myself known among them, among the Israelites. This haven't happened yet. I will make myself known among them, the Israelites, when I have judged thee. So when they didn't came back, they over there in the land posting as the Israelites, but he's gonna judge them. And when he judged them, it's the same time he's gonna make himself known to us. That ain't happened yet. So that's why it's so important to understand that. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Somebody got some more. Yeah. Okay. So it says, they say, build back better, right? Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that? Let me see if I got some more. Yeah, that's it. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, yeah. So with that being said, let me see what I got here. Yeah, so I got a little need to know information. Play that. 1 minute.
This trucking industry insider said to me, you are not gonna believe this. Let's talk about it. So truckers are the backbone of our entire economy. They are critical. Nothing gets on a shelf to you in any store in America without a trucker bringing it somewhere. Even if they didn't bring it directly to the store, they brought it to a warehouse, or they brought it from a shipyard, or they brought it from a shipyard in China somewhere. So truckers are literally critical to the backbone of our economy. And if the supply chain for truckers stops, then it's over. But just to start off, we're going to start off slow and then just dive deeper into it because this is a really complex thing that's shutting down the trucking industry. And this is scary stuff. This is going to take years to recover from. So just to start with, the price of diesel, which massive trucks run on, hits an all-time high. All-time high. That is just a huge hit for truckers. A lot of truckers pay their own gas out of their pocket. They're getting a salary and they take gas out as an expense. So if that cost goes up a lot more, a lot of truckers are just not gonna do the delivery because they don't even have the gas money up front to pay for all this diesel. Some of them are paying close to $2,000 just to fill up their tank. Imagine paying $2,000 to fill up your gas tank. This is insane, and just this is a huge problem for truckers. So let's just keep diving in deeper though. And all of these food shortages, empty shelves, all these things at all of our favorite stores are also directly tied to the supply chain and to our truckers and their ability to get goods places. The state of Georgia literally declared a state of emergency over the supply chain and to help truckers move more goods faster. So the big problem that truckers are facing is summed up in this article here. Where have all the truck parts gone? So this is bigger than just truckers not having gas. This is trucks are breaking down and they are not able to make repairs on their vehicles and get them back out in their fleet. So they're essentially being taken off the map. And this comes on top of the Russia-Ukraine war, and half of the world's neon for chips that go in almost all modern vehicles, half of the world's neon gas for these chips has been wiped out from this Russia-Ukraine war and sanctions and all these other things. Half of it. So this says supply chain and building material constraints have hampered new truck builds for much of the year. Yet a similar effect is being felt by fleets who simply want to service the trucks they already have. Volatility in steel and rubber prices has impacted the availability of tires and forged parts like blocks and housings, and lead time for parts that used to be a few days can drag on for weeks. So now we're having a whole parts crisis, and this is also on top of China's Shanghai lockdowns, and they are Shanghai's the biggest port in the world, and it is shut down, and they are one of the biggest supplier of all these random little parts we need to fix our cars, valves, hoses, pumps, all these different things are made in China. So this is really setting up for a catastrophe. So now that we have the background knowledge and we set the stage for what's going on in the world for truckers right now and all the struggles that they're having, let's get into what this insider said, because this is critical to get people's knowledge from people inside the industry. This is what we need. This is what I want more in the comments, and just in general, people should be talking to each other more. You know, we need to be telling each other what we see and what's going on, because you're not crazy. People aren't crazy. We know what's happening. We can see for ourselves. I don't have to tell you. The news doesn't have to tell you. Nobody has to tell you. You can see it. And I like to hear people's stories. So let me know if you have any stories like this, because I want to know what's going on behind the scenes, behind the curtain of all these different industries. They're all being affected by these shortages and sanctions and inflation and all these different things. So let's get into what they said. They said, "It is worse than you think. I work as a mobile mechanic on big rigs and semi-trailers. Parts to fix the big trucks are getting hard to come by. Examples would be water pumps for the Cummins engines and the Detroit engines, both have international back orders on them. International back orders. So I mean, this is we live in a globalized economy with a global supply chain. Everyone's going after these parts that aren't being produced, and then they can't fix their trucks because they can't get the parts, and then there's less trucks to deliver the parts. It's just like it's like a death spiral that we're heading into with these supply chain problems. Let me keep going. Normally, I would swap the pumps and top them off with coolant. Now the trucks are towed to a yard where they just sit until someone can get the parts. So all these trucks are being taken out of their fleet and just sitting in a yard for weeks, months at a time. This is just another thing. If you haven't seen my video, your world is about to drastically change. Go check it out, because that literally breaks down the whole supply chain and all the issues dealing with China and how our supply chain is so connected to it, and how these lockdowns in China are going to just make the supply chain issue that we're dealing with now 100 times worse, and how it takes time for all these things to catch up here in America because the supply chain is such a long, complex thing. So now the trucks are just towed to the yard until someone can get them parts. Brass fittings, plastic fittings, valves, etc. are either replaced with something else or not at all. Trucks are going down and no one knows when or if they will be repaired. That is, man, that's just another thing that we have to deal with in all of these, like, all my videos. I'm just breaking down, different topics, different areas of things that are just not working in our society right now.
Any comments on that?
Wow, you can see things falling apart, but you have a lot of truckers too that own, their own trucks, right? So if they're paying out of pocket for instance, the repairs and gas and all of that, they're going to be out of business. So the more truckers out there that's owning their own, then they're going to be, off the road.
Right. You get some?
Because they're not going to be able to afford it.
Right. It's a cause and effect too. It's got a lot of other things tied to that. Like you were saying.
Right. And I really don't think a lot of people are paying attention to that right now. But like I said, the news is hyping up, the virus again, and the shortage of things going on, the spike of gas, diesel, all of that.
Right.
And it's just gonna all crash, at one time, I think.
Oh, you have a perfect storm. That's what it's happening, and it's all orchestrated. Oh yeah. Okay. So I got this. We're gonna go into Q&A. Anybody got any Q&A questions or any comments about anything that they came across they want to talk about? Yeah, I want to get some feedback on this. I played this the other night. I'm gonna come back and play it a little more of it, but I want to get some direct feedback from some of the women on this. See what they got to say about it. Okay, let me get it.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Someone sent me this video, in which I'm not going to be sharing with the video with you. I am sharing clips from the video. In my opinion, the video is too vulgar to share. The way some of these young women are dressed is disgusting, and there's a lot of disrespect in the video. There's a lot of language that is terrible language for someone who is supposed to be a young woman, right? This reminds me of the scripture that talks about the daughters of Zion being haughty. Okay, these females are said to be entering into what they call the bad B word contest. Now, this younger generation is off the chain. The Black community is in shambles. When we did White It Out Part 5, The Curse of Generational Curses, there was a segment that we put in there where we talked about how to use the booty right. Okay, that's what I called it. It's a poem that I wrote. It's actually a spoken word that I wrote, and it's talking about how women, they want to accentuate their body so that they can attract the attention of men. Okay, but they are not trying to accentuate their brain power. They're not trying to use their common sense or any type of righteous sense to do what is right for their future. Instead, they want to use their bodies like tramps and what the Bible calls whores. Now, this type of thing is going from bad to worse. If you look at and listen, like I said, I'm not saying that anyone should look at this video because to me it's disgusting. It is a disgusting video. I couldn't look at all of it. It reminds me of the video that I did some time ago on Sukihana. I could not tell anyone that they were going to teach her a lesson. They decided that they were going to catch her after school and relieve her of her natural long hair. They took scissors and cut her down almost to bald. And they left, I would say, about an inch or two of hair on top of her head. And they beat her. And the mother of that young woman came up there like a raging bull, ready to tear up the whole city. So these are the types of generations, this younger generation, when the future comes upon them and consumes them, they ain't gonna know what the heck to do. My mom used to say that so and so don't know their rear end from a hole in the ground. Some of you all may have heard your mothers and grandmothers say that too. In other words, the point that was being made is that they are so clueless as to what's happening in the world that they don't know their own butts from a hole in the ground. Young man who was 16 years old and his young wife was 16 years old. They were living in an African village and he was the breadwinner in his house at age 16, taking care of his 16-year-old wife and their children. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all ain't hearing me. So in other words,
like I said, we watched this the other day. I was just going back getting some feedback, from some of the ladies on what you think about that.
It's sad but true. I mean, to see our women dressing and behaving in that manner is really sad. You know, whew. And it's getting worse.
Exactly.
It is getting worse. But I would like to say in Ecclesiastes chapter 25 and 26.
Okay.
For the listeners out there, whenever you have a chance, just read that. Read those two chapters in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
It really says a lot. The wickedness of these women is just off the charts. And like I said, talking to somebody earlier, if you mention, you talking to someone that does not understand um, what it means to be submissive, they go off the charts when you
Right.
mention that.
Right.
I
Exactly.
mean, they go in.
Right.
But we have to understand that, I think he's truly separating us too.
Right.
Just like he's separating the men, he's separating the women also.
Right.
And as women, we are more worried about how we look to other women. We want to be liked, so forth. We got to get away from that.
Okay.
We have to get away from that. And like I said, this is something that you know I talk a lot about because as a Hebrew Israelite woman, I am unlearning, you know, all the things that's out there, in the world, the
Right.
worldly sauce,
Right.
But even when I was out there in the world, I didn't dress that way. I did not act a certain way. That was not me anyway,
Right. Okay.
But you have some women you cannot take away from that, you know, even
Right.
as Hebrew Israelite women, we don't uplift each other, we don't support each other. You still come in with jealousy and hatred, for no reason.
Right.
We it's a lot of things we have to stop doing when you know who you are.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right. So what I'm gonna read is I'm gonna read what because she mentioned judgment on the daughters of Zion. So I'm gonna read that. Okay, so it's in Isaiah 3, starting at verse 16. Moreover, moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks. Remember what you just saw the images. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and Wu-Tang eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite thee with a scab as the crown of thy head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their coils, and their round tires like a moon, the chains, the bracelets, and the mufflers, and the bonnets, and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, and the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the whimpers, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war, and her gates shall laminate and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Okay, so what you perceive out of that? Anybody?
Mm, 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 mm.
What you
That
perceive out of
you
that?
you know the images of the girls, right?
Right.
That
That's
what
dead on this right here, right?
right, what you just read is you see that all in there.
Right. Exactly. That new under the sun.
Right.
Okay.
And as Hebrew Israelite women, we have to learn to be leaders and not followers.
Exactly.
We can't we're everybody is different.
Right.
Nobody is the same.
Right. Right.
So as a Hebrew Israelite woman, I'm gonna say this on YouTube. I'm
Right.
not gonna dim my light for anybody.
Right.
But I'm not gonna hurt anybody either. I wouldn't hurt anybody. I'm a loving person, but I'm not gonna dim my light for anybody because you're feeling a certain type of way.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
I have nothing to do with that. You have to deal with that.
Right.
And as women, we tend to want other women to like us, feel like we got to fit in with everybody. No, we're not supposed to fit in with everybody.
Right. Yeah.
As Hebrew Israelite women, we are not supposed to fit in with everybody.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too because I got two daughters, and one of the things is that one of them is 15, and the other one she probably 30, I think a little over 30. But the thing was, like I said, we had a track record from back in the day from so much atrocities and mayhem that came through our families and with our parents, father especially, and the mother too. But there's a lot of times they don't talk, and so I told myself that I was going to talk. You know what I mean? Because you can't say that that ain't talk to you. He ain't come on with it. So I was telling them about. I always tell them about how embarrassed I was when you know it's illiterate. You go to a car lot and you got your eyes on a certain car, but you go to the car lot and the salesman talk you into getting another car. You go there with a certain car on your mind you want, and you end up leaving out of there because he didn't convince you to get a certain car that quick. You can change your mind on getting a car. So it's the same thing in the world when you're out and about, when you're around your friends. You know what I'm saying? I was telling them that you ain't like them. You know what I mean? And so you can't let them coerce you into doing something they want to do, and and you ain't even
Right.
eligible, allowable. You ain't got no business even doing it. So because they want to do it, we're gonna let them talk you into doing it. They say that's illiterate. You gotta come on. You gotta come on with it. So it's the same thing what the woman said about when you go back and look at the European Cain descendants. We gotta call it for what it is. That man and woman, they got issues. They issues that went on with them. They man is gay. It's in their DNA. So he treating her all different type of ways, and so that she got a track record from all that. But them atrocities ain't on the Israelite man and woman. The Israelite man ain't gay, from birth. And so from you look at all those thousands of years that he done misused them because he wants to live. He get off on a little young boy, 12, 13 years old. That's where he get his excitement at. So he don't want her. He just need her for to reproduce. So you imagine how he handled her all them years. And so we come to let's just say 1952, 1954, whenever this equal or this women's lib and all that started. It's them. That was the issue they had that we done took up. Same thing with the salesman at the car lot. You ain't had them issues. All of a sudden now you done allowed them to bring you into some issues that they had. And they ain't got nothing to do with us. That's an issue between the European man and the European woman. We got other issues, but it ain't got nothing to do with that. Because back in we had Chicago, which was a thriving metropolis for blacks, and we had New York or Harlem, and just like we see on the video, that look on all those girls' faces, where it was another look on those women's faces in those two metropolitan areas back in the day, and it was wholesome women with their proper clothes on, and they was down with their man.
Right, so true.
But they didn't let this European woman with her attitude and her problems that she got be imposed on the black woman. She don't know whether she want a woman or a man. He don't know whether he want a man or he don't know if he want a woman or a man. They all messed up. They ain't got shit to do with us. But it's been imposed on us. And like I said before, you got to stand up and already know what it is you want. That's the same thing was with not the sideboard of the conversation, but somebody come and tell you that the Most High got the Lord of Hosts and the Most High is the same, and they can go in there and break it down and go all over scriptures, hopscotch all over scriptures and show you that. Then you got to do something with it. You can't keep acting like this ain't been showed to you. damn how you feel, but it's being broken down to you all over the place. How in the hell are you gonna keep on saying that the Yahweh is just Yahweh? It ain't just Yahweh. You know what I mean? It's being broken down to you. Then you got a Negro on speed dial, waiting on you to ask him to break it down. You still fumbling with it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right, right. I was just going to make the comment too. If we don't teach our children, the streets will.
Exactly.
If we don't talk to our children, the streets will.
Right.
You know, we have, you know, our daughters. You know, my daughter is 28. She has no children. She's not married. You know, I talk to her ever since she could talk. I talk to her. I don't say, you know, oh, if you go out there and get pregnant, you know, it's okay. No, don't go out there and do that.
Right.
You know, we condone that. They out here having 2, 3, 4 babies by different men, you know, all of that with no corrections.
Right.
You know, they walk out of the house half naked, you don't say nothing.
Right.
I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Right. You allowing sin to increase.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't, you know, they're not going to give us anything positive. You know, when they got the women on the stage with these rappers, they naked. When they got the women rappers up there like Megan Thee Stallion and all them, they naked.
Oh yeah. Right.
Nothing positive.
Oh yeah.
You can be beautiful with clothes on.
Right. Exactly. And they got the little girl that Deborah was talking about. You know, yeah, she just straight up filthy come out her mouth. And that's where we at. You know, it's crazy, but that's where we at. You think so?
It is. It's just so much to be discussed on that topic when it comes to Hebrew Israelite women.
Oh yeah, right.
And being on Clubhouse, you know, I see a lot of that. You know, the women that saying they're Hebrew Israelite women, but they, you know, their profile picture, they got their breasts all out and these short skirts on and a ton of makeup and man.
Exactly. They're saying one thing, but they're doing something else.
Exactly.
And the thing about it is, they think that there's, you know, it's now, whereas you think that, you know, all of a sudden the Most High done changed. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, he said in the very beginning, he said it's we see in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 2 is him and it's another being with him. He there and another being on the water. I mean, so they ain't changed. They ain't all of a sudden changed. So everything that's in heaven is eternal. So if it was somebody else there with him in the Genesis 1 and 2, then whoever that was is an eternal being.
Right.
He ain't went nowhere. Shit ain't changed. It's still the same. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it baffles me, you know. I'm trying to find something right quick because I saw it the other day, and it just, you know, it was profound. And I said I was gonna read it when I was talking the other day, but we ended up getting into some more stuff and then registered. So like I said, that spirit that's in that European man and that European woman, he has a problem with that Israelite man. That's been from the very beginning. So that doesn't allow it to seep into our culture. And people doing it and not even understanding where it came from. They just riding along with it though. They the same way the rest of everybody else got a problem with that, with the Israelite male. They didn't develop this attitude with the male, Israelite male, not even realizing. Not saying that it's a bunch of issues going on with the Israelite male, but still, it's a spirit that's out there that's got a problem with the Israelite male, and it's being injected all over the whole. It's global.
Right.
And then you gotta be conscious and realize that am I doing this? Am I doing this on? What I mean, why am I doing this? Why why I got this attitude with this brother and you know what I'm saying? You got to look at that.
Yes, you do, but they don't.
No, they don't pay no attention to it. They don't understand why it is. I mean, like I was saying before, if you got somebody that's breaking down something to you, why you got an attitude with them? And like I said, you know that you hadn't seen it. You've been reading it all for forever and a day, or how long you said you had it, what you hadn't seen it, and now it's being shown to you over and over again all over the place. But you got mad. You got a problem because of where it's coming from.
Right.
That's
the that's the big picture right there. Is who it's coming from.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say I ain't judging nobody now, but I'm just saying mama and daddy didn't raise us to be followers.
Right, exactly.
We just was not raised that way.
Yeah, that's my point. Like I said, dude, what I'm saying, you go to the, you've been looking at a charger for 5 years and want to get one, and then you finally see one on a lot, you go over there to get it, you come out of there with a Toyota.
Right.
The salesman talk you into getting the Toyota, man. Come on, you gotta, people don't, they don't look at that.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that I know who I am, oh my goodness. Yeah. Watch out now.
Right. Better get on, man. You can't put me in this charge, and then you need to get.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna use that for, I guess, for tomorrow night. I'll find that information that I was trying. I was reading it the other day, and I thought it was in last week, but yeah. So anybody else got any comments on that? What I was just showing on the daughter's design. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go into this. We're gonna go into the Bible discussion, and what it is I'm playing a video, and it's talking about a lot of things that I've been talking about for the last, I don't know when, since I started this channel. It's Bible secrets, different Bible secrets that revealed, and I'm just gonna talk about it because the way they coming out with it, I thought it was interesting, so I'm gonna use it for a mode of discussion. So here we go. I'm gonna play it, and then we'll stop it, and as we go.
The Bible from a variety of historical and theological perspectives, which have been debated for centuries. Are there chapters in the Bible that are missing?
There are a number of earth-shattering texts that we will likely never see in our lifetime.
Stories that have been censored.
These are books that allegedly were providing hidden or secret teachings.
And entire characters that have disappeared.
Any book that didn't have the backing of influential people gets cast out.
But why? What was originally in the Bible that was so shocking, so outrageous, that it should be forbidden?
They were denounced as the worst kind of blasphemy against Christ.
So I want to stop right there for a minute, based on that right there. So back to what I was just saying, the European man and woman and they situation. This who got the hotel records. Just like I said, they didn't impose their issues and the bullshit going on with them until you have to understand that when you read, when you start talking about scholarship, you're going to get their opinion on this, and we know that they are all messed up. See what I'm saying? So you have to look at that and think about that. Everything you done got, like I said, what Israelites that call themselves Hebrews gonna have a problem with the book of Enoch. Come on. It's something wrong. Okay? But he got a problem, him and her got a problem with the book of Enoch. Okay?
It is one of the most important books ever written. Its contents have been studied, debated, and fought over for thousands of years. But does the Bible also contain secrets? Secret prophecies? Secret characters? Secret texts? Now, for the first time, an extraordinary series will challenge everything we think, everything we know, and everything we believe about the Bible. The Bible. Every year, global sales of this 2,000-year-old bestseller exceed 100 million copies. But not all Bibles are the same. The most obvious difference, of course, is that Judaism only recognizes what Christians refer to as the Old Testament. But even Christians use different versions of the Old and New Testaments. These vary not only in language and translation, but in terms of what is included and what is not. For example, most Protestant Bibles, including the King James Version, contain 66 books. The Catholic Bible includes 73. But the Bible of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, a Christian denomination of 45 million followers in Africa, has 81.
One of the secrets of ancient Christianity is that different ethnic and religious groups had different Bibles. So there are different groups like the Coptics or the Ethiopian Church. They actually have some inspired books, whereas other groups do not. So we shouldn't just ask which version of the Bible is correct, but it's which collection of biblical books is correct.
To be included in the official version of the Bible, or canon, a book must be considered to be divinely inspired, the Word of God. But just who decides?
Yeah, this is what I've been screaming right here. It's going over a lot of people here, right here. Who decide, man? You go right back to Esau, like I said. Everything that's written in red in the New Testament, Esau wrote it. Esau writing it, but he putting a face on it by putting Christ there. And we know they concocted. But it's a group of men, the same men that canonized these books and took books out. They're the same ones got you believing that. They're the ones writing that. They putting these words in this fictitious character mouth that they created. And nobody ain't seeing that. Okay.
I think with both the Hebrew Bible, which sort of closed by the end of the 1st century CE, and then the New Testament, which was closed as a canon by about the end of the 4th century CE. But once you have Bible in the vernacular language, you begin to have someone from a pulpit or from an academy who says, this is what the Bible contains.
This so-called canonization of the Bible led to bitter arguments about which books should be included and which should be suppressed.
Certain books may have made it into the canon because they were...
Yeah, so let's look at that. I'm gonna leave it alone, let it run. So like back to who the book belonged to, who wrote it. It was Israelites wrote it. So would Israelites be sitting there taking our books? No. Would they be debating on what book can go in there? No, the man Israelites, there's more people than got a hold of our records. And they got issues. Like I said, issues that it has nothing to do with us. And so they critiquing the book, taking stuff out, putting stuff in because it's convicting them. Them ain't Israelites. They didn't got a hold of our records and they fumbling with our records. Okay?
Good theology, but they might have made it in because they had the backing of some strong, influential people. Other books may have been very true and accurate, but they may have been marginalized because they didn't have the backing of influential people.
There were a group of men with specific agendas determining what would and what would not become a canon. And this agenda was about preserving the power of the church. The agenda here is politics and economics. It's not spirituality.
Until the mid-1800s, many early Bibles, even the King James Version, contained a number of books that have since been edited out. These are known as the Apocrypha.
The word Apocrypha literally means hidden things. And so these were books that allegedly were providing hidden or secret teachings. But the term Apocrypha came to mean books that were not accepted as part of the official canon.
There are actually more apocryphal books than there are books that are included in the canons, whether the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, or in the New Testament.
Some of them are historical books, talking about the history of Israel after the Old Testament period. There are some books that are historical fictions.
The debate about which books should or should not.
Okay, any comments so far?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Text is almost as old as the Bible itself. Some early theologians and scholars cited disparities between ancient Hebrew and Greek texts and questioned the authenticity of various sources and authors.
So any book that contradicts what they decided to believe gets cast out. It's called heresy. They burn the books. They condemn anyone who believes this.
They don't want to deal with that.
But of all the Apocrypha, or hidden books of the Bible, one book in particular, the Book of Enoch, is considered so controversial that many believe it was deliberately omitted from the canonical or official texts because of its bizarre and outrageous content.
So back to like I said before, go to the car lot. And then the salesman gonna convince you how he feel about it change, and you end up getting sideboard and not even getting the car you want. Same thing right here. Some clown and told you don't deal with the book of Enoch. He ain't know Enoch is an Israelite. He come through that lineage, through Adam's lineage. But you got a clown telling you over here that ain't Israelite, ain't got nothing to do with it, ain't got the spirit on him, the DNA or nothing, telling you don't deal with the book of Enoch. And you riding with it.
Ironically, the character of Enoch does appear in current versions of the Old Testament, but only as a devoted follower of God, one who lived hundreds of years before the Great Flood.
And all we know about Enoch is that he didn't die because he walked with God and then he was not. So the theory there is that God took him to a special place.
Enoch is the only one in heaven allowed to sit along with God, and he reveals information to humanity.
Believed to have been written over a period of time between 300 BC and 100 AD, the Book of Enoch was traditionally thought to have been authored by Enoch himself in order to share secret knowledge given to him by God.
Enoch was an incredibly popular book in the time leading up to the formation of Christianity.
That's right.
Of all the secret texts, I think that the Book of Enoch in many ways is the most forbidden.
At some point before the 4th century, the Book of Enoch was removed from the Hebrew version of the Bible and became discredited by all but 2 early Christian churches. But why? Could there be clues in the text itself?
Enoch predicts the end of the world. He predicts the coming of the Messiah. He predicts all kinds of wars and battles. But one of the things he does is he elaborates this story of the giants.
According to the Book of Enoch, the giants, or watchers, were a group of renegade angels sent to earth to guard man more than 5,000 years ago. But instead of protecting the human race, they lusted after women and corrupted mankind.
The Watchers mate with human women, but also what the Watchers do is they teach women all kinds of forbidden arts, such as warfare, magic, how to make weapons, and also cosmetics. So makeup comes from the evil Watchers who taught women how to make up their faces.
The Book of Enoch is a real conundrum because this idea that the rebellious angels have a power that can rival God is something that is very threatening to traditional church.
In the Book of Enoch, the offspring of the Watchers and mortal women are described as giant warriors called Nephilim.
Nephilim means the fallen ones. And the theory goes that they're called the fallen ones because they were revolting against God. They decided that they wanted to have all the power for themselves.
The Nephilim, these are these grotesque giants. They are neither angels nor people. They are described as monstrous beings. And there were apparently thousands of them that populated the earth. In fact, there were so many of them that at a certain point, God had to destroy all of humanity in order to get rid of them.
Talk about that.
One of the things that people don't realize is that when God sends the flood during the days of Noah, that in one version of the story is that the reason God decides to destroy the earth is because these Nephilim were on the earth.
Grotesque giants attacking humans, and the giants in turn being destroyed by God in the great flood. And religious life.
Okay.
Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb and thought, man, this would be fun?
No questions so far?
So why do they think that the earth was destroyed? Because it was all good people? I mean, how is that so far-fetched? I don't.
Yeah, they don't see the part about these wicked giants. And that's why the flood came. Because they didn't took away that narrative. First of all, if you took the Book of Enoch out, you're not going to really see that. Just like when he says, let me read this right quick. Pertaining to what we just heard and what we know. So, okay. I'm in second Samuel. Now, this, imagine when a Christian read this, and it's going right over his head. Just like I keep on telling you about the Lord of hosts. You know, Negroes don't want to deal with that. So it says right here in 2 Samuel, Most High talking to David. He sent Nathan to tell David this, right? So I'm picking it up in chapter 7, 2 Samuel. David wanted to build a house for the Lord, and he said, no, he can't build it because David had blood on his hands, but his son Solomon was going to build it. So he sent Nathan to go tell David that. And I'm picking it up in 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 8. Now, therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from sheepcote and following sheep to be ruler over my people Israel. And I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name, like unto the name of great men that are in the earth. Now here we go, verse 10. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people. See that? Israelites. People Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore at beforetime. So this Christian read that and think that it's people that just sin it. It's the children of wickedness. No, these right here, what Enoch telling you, they was conceived in wickedness. The DNA is wickedness. It ain't no people that just transgressing the Most High commandments. There's some wicked ass people. They origins is from wickedness. This is what he's talking about right here. And so he tells you, you keep on reading that, and you go to chapter 12. Verse 12, and it says, and when thy days, he talking to David, when thy days are fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed. See that seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. Solomon. He shall be my house. He shall build me a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men. That's these wicked ass people. We see that in the four beasts. Every time when they ain't do right, he brought these wicked ass people. Ain't cause they sin and they transgress against the law. They wicked as hell from their conception. And from Genesis chapter 4, they multiplied. And when Israel mess up, he go get them and bring them there. That's what Cyrus told them. Your God sent me here. Nebuchadnezzar, your God sent me here. That's what he's saying right here. Ain't no that's Christian narrative. There's some wicked ass folks that's wicked as hell from their DNA. They came from these fallen angels that was wicked as hell. Christian narrative ain't got nothing to do with it. But we can't read it right. Okay?
Egypt. This archaeological site, located in the Sinai Peninsula, is believed to have once been a religious center built by the Israelites between the 8th and 9th centuries BC. During excavations in 1975, researchers unearthed 2 large ceramic jars, each covered with strange symbols and illustrations of humans and animals. But also included were Hebrew inscriptions which revealed a radical notion that God had a wife named Asherah.
It actually says, may you be blessed by Yahweh, the Hebrew God, and his Asherah.
There was a goddess in ancient Israel known as Asherah. She was the consort or the wife of Yahweh, the God who we find in the Hebrew Bible.
In fact, the name Asherah is mentioned more than 40 times throughout 9 different books of the Old Testament. In the book of Jeremiah, Asherah is even described as the Queen of Heaven. And there is evidence that she was worshipped by the ancient Israelites as late as the time of Jeremiah in the 7th century BC. But was...
You see how they twisted that? You see that? Okay, I'm gonna let a little more of that play. But this is what I'm talking about.
Believed to be the wife of God. If so, then when did this notion change? And why?
While the Bible that we have says that, there is one God, the archaeological evidence might suggest that God actually had a wife.
They are spoken of as a divine couple, the ultimate beloved relationship, the divine feminine.
Now you see where that spirit coming from? I'm talking about
together to create the
this is where it
ultimate
came
creator
from, right here.
force, which is God.
So let's look at that right quick, because like I said, all right. Let's say he got a woman, that was there with a woman there in the beginning, right? Why in the hell would he come down to the earth and form a man from the dust of the ground? When he do like Adam did, and when he do like Isaac did when he saw Rebecca, and he came walking through the field, and she saw him, and he took off with a camel and took her into mama's tent and consummated the relationship. So why you got to come down and get get clay? So that's disrespecting his woman, huh? That's crazy as hell.
Right.
So see what I'm saying? That's back to what I said about this Caucasian man and this Caucasian woman. They ain't got that's their issues. That's all they bullshit they done brought in on the scene, and we riding with it. They ain't got nothing to do with us. Okay. Excuse my expression. So anyway, yeah. So this video is called "Bible Secrets Revealed." You want to watch it? It's forbidden. I can't just go play all of it. It's Bible secrets revealed, forbidden scriptures lost to time. You want to watch all that. And so, yeah, you want to watch it, go to YouTube. So, with that being said, I'm going to start with something I want to play and then I'm going to close out. Nobody else have anything else before I play this? Okay. Oh, my bad. Here we go.
I have been folding my tongue beneath itself, bleaching my language, clenching my jaw with shackled teeth, because the moment I open my mouth, uprising spring from my saliva, my dialogue is cruddy. Trample with the muddy boots of trade and migration, battling nations in my diaphragm, so the rhythm in my diction sounds like a war cry, and despite the white stuff down my windpipe, I talk black with nappy phonics. Syllables that kink and twist, naughty expression that beads on my palate, so glow in this spit shine flow, Jerry curl jogging, bongo drums in my diction. This slang is semantic resistance, off with the head of the king's English. Can't you smell the riot on my breath? Char in my esophagus, my laugh is arsenic. And ain't enough opiates in this elementary education to hook me on phonics or gentrify the djembe out of my pronunciation. Love the taste of this cornbread accent. Sugar cane slang, my tongue is motherland, mama of civilization, birth of every nation, scat, boom, back, hi-hat, jazz, sax. There is music in my melanin and I be talking hella black. With a neck roll to articulate my tone. Conversations get you high as my cheekbones and lingo about lush as these hips done grown. Big thighs and deep fried vernacular. Hand motions and sound effects. Hieroglyphics hidden in my messages. My breath is the building of the pyramids on repeat. I'm like a Negro spiritual sampled over a trap beat. There is a black anthem inside my belly, so I will always lift every voice and speak.
Okay. Okay. Shalom. We see everybody tomorrow on Clubhouse at 8 o'clock for our non-Messianic room. Shalom.
Shalom.